first graders. We're going to get started on another new project today, and we're going to be learning about two of the elements of design. One is line, which you guys are very well aware of and familiar with, and the other is something called space. We're also going to learn about a type of art called a landscape. So a landscape is when you have or make a picture of land. Now that might sound kind of weird, like just drawing some blades of grass or things like that, but landscapes are actually really cool. It might be a picture of the sky and trees in the distance, maybe a farm field, maybe some animals walking through a field. Those are all examples of landscapes. Typically in landscapes there aren't buildings, unless it's like a building that is kind of way in the distance, like a barn or something like that. So we're going to make a landscape, and we're going to draw it using lines. We're going to have some trees in it, and the trees are only going to be drawn with lines. There aren't going to be shapes. And then we're going to use space. So space is kind of new for you. Space in art is a way to show how things are either close to you or far away from you or kind of in between. So close to you would be called the foreground. Excuse me. Far away in your picture would be called the background, and in the middle would be the middle ground. Now some of you might wonder how you can make it look like something is close and something is far away in your project, but the way you do it is by making it different sizes. So take me for example. If I get really close to my iPad, do I look big or do I look little? The answer is big. But when I back away, now I'm still not very far away, but when I back away, does my face look as big as it did when I was close? No. See? Big, small. That's how I can show space. So I do the same thing on my paper. If it's close, I make it big. If it's far away, I make it tiny. If it's in the middle, it's kind of in between, okay? It also depends on where you put it on your paper. So if you put something close to you, yes, it will be big, but you'll also start it towards the bottom of your paper so that you can fill up the majority of your paper and make it big. If it's in the back, it's going to start up higher on the paper, and you're going to draw it smaller so it looks like it's farther away. Okay? I will do a demonstration so that you can see what this looks like on paper. I will do that in just a second. Okay, so as I said, we're going to be making a winter landscape, and today what we're going to do is work on the drawing part of the project. And potentially I'm making some snow. We'll just see how far we get. But what I'm gonna do is draw first. So what I want to do is make a variety of trees. And we talked about showing space. So I want some trees that are close. I want some trees that are in the middle ground, and then I want some trees that are in the background, so further away. So to make a tree that is close, all I'm going to do is start at the bottom of my paper, and I'm going to make a line that goes way up, okay? Now, I don't really need it to touch the top of my paper, but I do want it to go up high on the paper. So maybe I want a couple of trees like that. It's kind of up to you. Okay, so that's going to be the trunk of the tree. Now, I also want a tree in the middle ground. Maybe I want that tree over here, so I need to start it up from the bottom of the paper further than those two close trees. And then I don't make the line go as tall as those close trees, okay? And you decide how many of those you want. We don't want like 15 trees on our paper, but you can make more than one if you would like. And then what I want to do is make a couple of trees that are even smaller because they're further away. So it looks like that, okay? Now somewhere I have to make what's called a horizon line, and that is the line where the ground and the sky meet. So my horizon line has to be above the bottom lines of my trees that are up the highest. If I made it down here, it would look like those trees were flying in midair, and that's not possible. So maybe what I want to do is make a hill like that. I don't know if I drew it dark enough for you guys. And then maybe I want this hill over here to go this way. Like that. So now it looks like these trees now are on the ground, okay? Now right now they don't really look like trees, they're just little sticks, but we'll make them look more like trees in a minute. Up in the sky, we're going to make it look kind of like it's a night scene, so you want to draw a moon. Now you can draw a crescent moon like this, or you could draw a full moon. It's completely up to you what kind of moon you want to draw. So it should look like that. And then the very last step is to go in and start making your trees. And we're doing that kind of by making like a V shape. And at the bottom, the V shape gets a little bit bigger. And at the top, it gets a little bit smaller. And you decide how many of those you want in there, okay? So I would repeat that over and over on all of my trees, tiny at the top. Gradually, those V shapes are getting bigger the closer to the bottom of the tree they get. And then I can go back in and fill it in so it doesn't look quite so empty. Now on these bigger trees, those V shapes are going to be a little bit bigger because these are closer than those trees there. Okay. Now notice how I'm doing this kind of sketchy. That's okay. Okay, so now I can go fill it in a little bit more. And it starts to look more like a pine tree. Okay, so today we're going to focus on this part. I don't think I am going to show you any more because if you're taking your time, which I really want you to do, it's going to take you a while to do all of the drawing. Now, one thing that I do want you to do when you're finished drawing is to use the skinny Sharpie to go in and Sharpie everything. You can Sharpie the snow line. You can Sharpie the moon. Like, don't fill the moon in, just trace around it like this. And you can Sharpie your trees. Now, I want to show you why it's important to erase your pencil lines. One, it can smudge when we start adding color to this later. But two, look when I erase. There's a whole lot of lines that we're showing that now are not showing. And it just looks so much cleaner and nicer when you do that. So make sure when you're done with the Sharpie that you erase your pencil lines also. Okay, if you have any questions, please let me know.